Women have been conditioned by society to be, act, and think a certain way. Here at Girls IRL, we encourage women to challenge societal norms and embrace their femininity. With that being said, let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls in Real Life podcast. I'm your host, Mariah Clayton, and we have a fun one for y'all today. I'm so excited. We're trying something new, and we're doing something called randomness. I really don't even know what I'm going to call it yet. Random talks, random, getting random. I don't know what we're going to call it. But the very first person that I have for this segment is my good friend Imani, and that is because we can literally kiki about anything and everything all day, every day. So Imani, thank you for joining me today.
Of course, I'm so excited.
Me too. I feel like we've been trying to do a podcast episode together for a long time now.
Yes, I know. We need to do like a collab one where it's like we make a whole graphic and everything
I
for both of our
know. Because Imani has
podcasts.
her own podcast too, y'all. It's called Dear Imani. It's like an advice based show, and I'll have all of her socials and everything linked in the descriptions of the podcast. But she's doing the damn thing, and I'm so excited for her. So we have her on the show today, and I know that you guys are going to love her because literally everybody just loves her. If you need
Oh, thank
context,
you.
like she won Miss Congeniality at Miss USA, like she is just the biggest, brightest, bubbliest person ever.
Facts.
It's so funny because Justin was actually talking about you the other day, and he was like, "Man, I could really see Imani like being a host one day. Like she just has such a big personality, and she's such a people person." I'm like, "Yeah, like that's Imani."
Oh, thank you, Justin. That's the goal, girl. I'm like, I just love to talk, so.
All right. So basically, the gist of this episode is nothingness. Like, we're literally just going to be talking. I'm going to throw out like random topics and we'll just discuss and kind of see how long we go on our little tangents for because I feel like we can both do that very easily. But I think the
Yes.
first thing that I want to talk about because it just happened and I just finished watching it is the Love is Blind reunion because I honestly was so upset at this reunion. First of all, with them being late, a whole hour and a half late or 2 hours late, and then I couldn't even watch it that night. I was like, I have to go to bed. I'm
No.
tired.
I literally called out of work. Like, I called out of
No.
work for the literally for the Love Is Blind reunion. I was like, I'm not about to be at work at 5 p.m. Like it was coming at 5 p.m. my time. So I called out of work. My friend came over. We got our food exactly. We left the house at 4:30 to go pick up our dinner to bring it back, and we got right back home at 4:59. We didn't open our dinner. We were like, let's wait 5 o'clock on the dot. Like everybody was doing this, super
I
excited. But I called out
forget
of work.
you're
It
on
didn't work.
PST time.
Yeah, yeah. So it came on at 5, and it literally. I had to watch it. I watched it on the TikTok live because I was desperate. Like I was, we had our phone set up and just watching it on someone's random live. But everyone else, we couldn't watch it until the next day, like
Exactly.
on TV.
But that's what I was
I'm
saying because I was like, Netflix has literally never done a live anything before. And Justin was like, well, they've done a few live things. I was like, no, that this, like being able to watch live, like Netflix has never done this. And I was so interested to see like how it was gonna go. And it literally crashed and burned. And I was like, they're never gonna do another live anything ever again because it was ridiculous. Everybody was
yeah, they fumbled
pissed.
the bag.
They
They
really
hella fumbled
did.
the bag.
But and the reunion was not even worth like the hype and the wait that they like amped it up to be. Like I'm watching the reunion and by the end of it I was like I don't have a resolve for any questions that I had. I don't have any insight on what happened, what was going on, what I wanted to know. And Vanessa and Nick need to go. Like immediately.
Immediately.
I've been saying that since season 1 though. Like they're just not good hosts and I don't know how they keep getting the job to do this.
Well, what's crazy is that they've been hosting for like 2 decades, or like they started off, or I don't know if they started off, but they used to host TRL like on MTV or VH1, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been hosting for a really long time, and their resume is insane. Like they've literally hosted a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between hosting a live telecast and like reading off a teleprompter, which I think they both do well, versus like having to host a reunion and really actually connect with people and listen, because that's like the biggest thing when you're a host, or like doing a podcast. Like we have to listen to our guests and like actually like get the information in so we can ask the appropriate questions for
Mm-hmm.
follow-up questions. Where Vanessa, she just want to talk about herself. She's like,
Yes.
well, marriage is really hard, and I know because I've been married, and I know because I have kids. I'm like, girl, shut up.
But she
Damn.
literally made everything about her. And then what made it even worse was even when she was talking to like Marshall about the Jackie situation or talking to Paul about the TikTok video, it was like she had only heard that stuff through the grapevine. Like she did not do the deep dive and like the research that she needed to do in order to be able to ask the questions that she needed to ask. She was like, well, Jackie had posted some stuff on social media. I can't really remember what it was, but like, how do you feel about that? I'm like, girl, no, we need you to get to the nitty gritty. Like, Jackie called you gay. What do
Yeah.
you have to say
She
about
said
that?
she said you were soft and you were probably gay. That's what she said. What?
Like
Now.
she did not do what needed to be done, and I feel like Nick gets annoyed by her because she just goes off on these little tangents that have nothing to do with anything, and he's like tries to bring it back in, but it's like no hope.
You could tell he's like on the side of her, he's like uncomfortable. He feels awkward. I just think that one, yeah, she talks about herself a lot. But my other piece about her is their relationship, how it started. And these are all alleged, you know what I mean? But like he used to be married to Jessica Simpson. So that
I
was
did
the
not
tea
know
with
that.
that. Yeah, he used to be married to Jessica Simpson. And apparently there was like, I don't know the timeline, but that's the rumor. And so I feel like Vanessa has always been, she's kind of been the villain in her own love story. So that's why she can relate to the Jackies and the Micahs. Because in what world are you watching the show and you want to give Jackie or Micah the benefit of the doubt?
Exactly.
Like in what world? In her world, because if she's been the villain, then she feels like, oh, okay, well, I can relate to them,
Exactly.
It's like, sis, no.
Because she is literally sitting there when she's talking to Jackie. I'm like, she's talking to Jackie like this girl is her best friend. Like they just kikiing it up. She don't feel no type of way about nothing. She's just like, why do you think you didn't want to give the ring back? And she's just like, she's not mad like the rest of us are mad for Marshall.
Yeah, and what did she say when she was like, well, that doesn't matter because look who you have next to you.
Yes!
Talking about her and Josh. I was like,
bitch, we don't want her with Josh. We don't want her with anybody.
Yeah, she didn't like, and then my issue with, I could talk about this all day, but my issue with Jackie was, how she was showing all her receipts when she was showing the timeline of when she broke up with Marshall, which does help her story a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I could speak for a lot of us. Her breaking up with Marshall was not my issue. You have every right to not want to be with somebody,
right?
To break up with them, like to whatever is best for your happiness. The issue was how toxic she was, her behavior leading up to it, her behavior from Mexico moving forward.
Yes,
that was the issue, not the timeline or the fact that you broke up with him. Like I don't really care about that. You're just mean and toxic. And it's funny because in the beginning she was my favorite.
Yes,
because she was the most normal. Like I'm normal in the sense of like she reminds me of me and my friends.
Yeah, she's
like,
just goofy,
having a good time. She goofy. Like she just felt like, oh, that's my homegirl. But then that quickly turned. So
well, I think it's interesting because I was so confused with her story because I feel like they didn't really give us a background of Jackie. And so when she was in Mexico and was having like all of these breakdowns, me and Justin are looking at the TV like, what is wrong with her family? Like, what is she so like annoyed about with her family or stressed out with her family that it's literally causing her to like lock herself in the closet and cry and be so mean to Marshall? Like, we didn't have any context up to like what her family background was or why it was making her so upset.
Exactly. And that's the thing with, because Irina brought this up a little bit too, because she, Irina negative, but she she brought up the mental health anxiety, and Bliss cleared her because the Bliss was like, obviously we all understand mental health and anxiety, but that's not an excuse to treat people like shit, basically.
Exactly.
And I think the biggest thing with that is communication. Jackie was not communicating with Marshall what she needed or what was going on. So instead she's just being mean.
Right.
And toxic.
So and he was so patient with her. Like he was like so patient with her, so nice. Like, you take your time. Yeah, I would have been like, no, you need to come out here and talk to me right now. He was like, I'm not going to press it. If you don't want to talk about it, we won't talk about it. Like, come to me when you're ready. Like, no, we're going to talk about this right now. Because you're not about to go lock yourself in the closet and boohoo cry and leave me out here being like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and I feel like it's hard too because they don't know each other like that yet because they were only in the pods for like what 10 days or something. So he's
Yeah.
trying to like navigate how to kind of like get to know her and how her reaction's gonna be. So that was a really like hard scene to watch because I'm like I think that was actually the first time we all were like, Jackie,
Yeah, what's
interesting.
going on? And then
Yeah.
Irina's stupid ass, like she it's so weird to me because even when she was in her little confessional thing during the pods and she was like, I've been bullied before and I've struggled with like acne and all this other stuff. I'm literally in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, but you still like, you got a ton of makeup on. Like, you seem like this very insecure person. Like, you don't seem like you really did the work to like actually filter through that. And she was just like projecting onto Zach the entire time. Like, it doesn't matter if you didn't think he was attractive or that you didn't like him. There was no reason for her to treat him like as bad as she did, and for her to make him feel like he was just unworthy of literally anything and anyone. She's like, I hate when you sing. Stop doing that. Why do you look like why are you staring at me with your eyes like that? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and the thing is, Zach is interesting. Like watching the show, I was like, he's an interesting character, but it's just his mannerisms. But she made him seem like he was so odd and so weird. Where honestly, I just think he's passionate. He's very smart because was he a lawyer? I just like he's passionate, he's factual, and he's really in tune with his emotions. And I feel like for some people that comes off as weird, or like Jackie that comes off as soft. You
Soft,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. And for Irina, did you hear when the audience laughed? So when she started crying, she started
Yes,
crying.
because
She's like,
I'm
just
like, why are you crying? She's like,
stop crying.
I
Anyone,
need a minute.
I need a minute. Like everyone needs to stop crying. Like you cannot do something wrong, or you can't like be racist and make and say the N word, and then you're crying on Instagram for your apology video. Like
Exactly,
suck it up.
because people are checking you as they should.
Yeah, yeah. She was really annoying. Who else cleared was Zach. Honestly, Zach and Bliss together kind of cleared the whole like
At
everything up.
first
Like
I was like, okay, Bliss is dumb. Like, I would not be I'm sitting here telling you Irina is not a good person and you still want to go and like see what that's all about and then come back to me. Like, no, thank you. And I just thought that she was
mhm.
so dumb because I'm like, I don't want to be anybody's second choice. But she really did like him, and you could really tell that at the reunion. And first of all, Bliss looked bomb. She looked incredible. The
Yeah,
makeup, the
she's
earrings, the dress,
fire.
everything. She ate the girls up. And her and Zach
Yeah,
together, I could definitely see how they fit.
yeah, me too. I think it's because they're both factual. Like you could tell that Zach watched the season at home and studied the behavior of everyone and came back with the receipts. Like he truly did. Because my issue was with Micah and Paul's situation. This is another part where Vanessa would like really steered me wrong because they were trying to almost paint this idea that Paul was the villain when the whole time leading up to when before they got together, Micah and Irina were mean girls. And so this idea of like pushing Paul as the villain of the season was really odd to me that Vanessa was doing that. And she's like, well, you said that she wouldn't be a good mother. And he's like trying to explain, well, that's not what I meant. Basically, it just means that I don't want to be the father of her children with her.
Right. But it's
Like that's what
honestly
he was.
like based off of your behavior and how you're acting towards other people. No, you're not nurturing. You don't seem like you're
Mhm.
caring. You don't seem like you have these qualities of a mother. So, like, I can resonate with Paul saying that, but I don't think any woman wants to hear, like, oh, you're not going to be a good mother. But also, it's like, if somebody's saying that about you, then you need to step outside of yourself, turn around, and look and see what the hell everybody else seeing because something is wrong.
Exactly. And Zach was like, no, then Vanessa tried to almost embarrass them because she was like, what were you whispering over there? I see you whispering. And Zach was like, well, I was talking about this actually. Cleared everybody, cleared the whole room.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I just feel like the reunion was just a mess and I did not get the closure that I needed. But I feel like we could talk on and on about this all day, but I don't know if anybody else is as passionate about Love is Blind as we are. But
Yeah.
I
I'm
kind
ready
of
for next season.
I know, me too. I don't know what's going to go down, but I'm here for the drama.
Always, always. I will say, I feel like I have closure with Kwame and Chelsea. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like that was just, she met his mom. You know, his sister posted the pictures of her and his nieces, so that's all factual. And then Tiffany and Brett were already just like iconic love stories. So we didn't even need closure with them because we just knew what it was. So
Yeah,
I
they
would
were
say, at
like
least
the
for those,
Lauren and Cam of their season.
yeah, exactly. I think overall, like for the three married couples, there wasn't much more I needed to know. But really, where the reunion got messed up was how with Irina, Micah, and Jackie, and how they were like kind of treated. Like they should have been treated worse.
Yeah. And I wish Jackie and Josh would have like been there physically because that was such a cop out. Like they just didn't want to smoke like at all. And they were just like, we're just gonna do this little video and go on about our business. But like, no, you need to come here and take responsibility for what you did and how you made people feel.
Yeah, she was saying she posted that she said they didn't go because they were getting death threats. But I'm like, I've like being in
Nobody
LA with
well, I'm
the
not gonna
camera
say nobody
crew.
gonna kill you at the reunion, but never
Yeah,
mind.
but well, I was gonna say being at the reunion with the camera crew. I thought that's the safest place you're gonna be because now you're just walking around Seattle with nothing,
Exactly.
no security. Everybody hates you.
Right. You could
You would have
just
been better
be in
off
the
out
grocery store one day and get got.
here. Yeah, like you would have been better off here with the production team. She should have came.
Yeah, they should have came. That honestly, that made me mad, especially from Marshall. And Marshall even said it. He was like, I feel slighted twice because like I didn't get to finish the experience, and then also like I don't get to have this face to face interaction and like clear everything out. But anyways, we just gonna let bygones be
Mhm.
bygones, and Jackie and Josh gonna do whatever they want to do, and I wish them the worst, honestly. But
Yeah.
I
True.
want to talk about what your opinions are on birth control because, as you know, I just had a baby, and they say that like you're the most fertile after you have a baby. And I went to my 6 week checkup, and my doctor was like, "Do you want to talk about like birth control options?" And I said no because I've never been on birth control my entire life. I always said that I would never do it just because like I don't know, the hormonal imbalance and all of that stuff. Like my period has always been very regular. I'm very like in tune with my body. I know what's happening in there most times. And I'm just scared to get on birth control because I don't know. I just feel like I hear so many horror stories. So, what do you think about birth control? Are you on birth control? What kind of birth control are you on? I just need to know.
Yeah. So I started birth control. I've been on birth control for a long time. Probably like at least how long have I been dating Alex? 7 years. Before that, so I've been on birth control probably for like 9 years at this point. And I
What?
have maybe it's just me. I have had not a single side effect. Like I've switched my birth control. I take the pill by the way. I've switched my birth control pill like the brand 3 different times. I've never had a side effect. People I always say any weight gain has become from me basically. Like the the weight gain has come from me eating, not working out. Slay, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not the birth control, but everyone does have a different experience. I do have friends that struggle with like mood swings or like they did struggle with weight gain, and it was directly from the birth control. And some of my friends they went off of it because they just didn't like how they felt. So it really just depends on the person. But for me, I think you should try it because for I'm like I mean, I just ain't ready for no baby yet, so I gotta do what I gotta do. You know what I mean? I gotta take the pill. So I've been on it for a really long, yeah, I've been on it for a really long time, and no complaints. So I think you should do it.
I don't know. I'm just nervous because like I feel like having your period is a very like natural thing, and I always said like I never want to stop my body from doing what it needs to do naturally of like cleansing
Yeah.
itself and shedding the egg and all that stuff. And I heard like I don't know if I heard this on TikTok or something, but it's like they said when you're on birth control and you like bleed, it's not a real period because you're not ovulating. Is that true,
Damn.
or is that just like I don't know?
Well, that's messed up. Cause why you gotta bleed then? Just to fake it, fake bleeding. What is that about?
I mean, I don't
I
know
mean,
how
actually,
true that is. That's just what I heard.
I have heard it, but like I mean, I never. I mean, I guess I would have never thought that because it feels like a regular period. Like sometimes I'll still get the cramps, So but and it's your choice if you want to skip it. Like I've been skipping it just because I'm like, hey, I don't have a period. And that means I just keep taking the birth control instead of taking that sugar pill that 1 week. But my period always felt like a period. It was like the same texture of a period. It was all the things. So I don't know about that, if that's true or not. I mean, I would say, what you probably, I mean, the only way to know is if you're gonna have to do it like for a month. Like just do a whole pack and then really like monitor how you feel on it, if you have any mood swings. or anything like that, and then go from there. But I feel like the only way you'll know is if you try.
Girl, it was so funny because my nana calls me one day because I told her I was going to my checkup, and she was like, "Oh, like, what are you going to do about birth control?" And I told her nothing. And she was like, "Okay, well, you living with that man, and, you already had a baby, so he not going to want to go back to no condom. I'm just telling you right now." I'm like, "Nana, you cannot talk to me like this."
That's called wisdom, baby. She's spinning facts. It's true. I mean, and that's just the realest tea of it all. Like that's why I mean, yes, people take birth control because of acne, because it helps with acne, it helps with balancing your I don't know. People just take it for different reasons, but let's keep it 100. Why do people really taking birth control? Because you can have sex and have protected sex and not be on birth control and wear a condom and be just fine. Why are we taking birth control? Because everybody trying to be a Twinkie, if you know what I mean.
Stop. This is a PG podcast. I am dying. Oh my goodness. No, I feel like there's so much pressure from me because Justin's asked me about it. My Nana's asked me about it. My sister's asking me, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm like, why is it on me to not get pregnant? Why can't it be on the man? I told Justin, I was like, why don't you go get a vasectomy? Like, get a little snip, snip, and just let me live my regular life. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, okay, well, what makes you think that I want to like take a pill every single day or get a thing in my arm or stick something up my vagina? Like, it's all just so invasive, and I don't like invasive when it comes to my body.
And it's actually better, they say, for a guy to get a vasectomy because it easily can be reversed. And so it's not something that's like a permanent thing, but that's just a stigma. Like men never have to be told what they can and cannot do with their bodies. So that to them is just so bizarre to be like, well, you go get a vasectomy. They're like, what did you say to
How
me?
dare you
It's like, oh,
try to
how
control my body
dare
and its
you?
functions?
Exactly. So then we're stuck with the birth control and the IUD, and all they got to worry about is
Nothing.
nothing.
Like literally nothing. All they got to worry about is taking care of a baby if they make one. But they don't even like even
Yeah.
with being pregnant. Like, and that's why I was so apprehensive about being pregnant and trying to explain to Justin like you're saying, "Oh, we can do this. Like it's gonna be so easy. It's gonna be so fun for you." For me, my body has to change. Everything about me is changing. My hormones are up and down. Like I gotta push the thing out. Like you just get to keep living your regular life, and everything about mine changes. It's not fair.
Exactly. And it's not fair. So I don't know where they would. I think they should carry babies. Like they should be pregnant too. So, but
What's the
you can't
animal that
reverse
carries
that. So
babies? Is that the seahorse, the male seahorse that carries
yes,
the baby?
seahorse, a true man,
Yeah, right.
a real
Like,
man, a
oh,
seahorse.
maybe I was gonna say
Yep,
maybe one
I
day,
think you should,
but
I think you
no.
should try it. I think you should try it. The birth control
I don't.
because I've seen people that they have a baby and then that's why their age gap is like 9 months.
T.
It's like something, yeah, it's like really short in between, probably just because like you said, you're the most fertile after you give birth. So maybe just try it out and see. If you don't like it, then I mean it's so easy to reverse your body out of it, especially if you haven't been on it long. Like if I were to miss a whole week, just a week of birth control, even though I've been on it for so long, I could easily get pregnant. So not easily, but like depending on what my body would do. But if you are able to get pregnant, you can easily get pregnant within that week if you miss a week of birth control. So basically, I'm just saying you can reverse it. So if you don't like it, just stop taking it, but try it for a month and see.
A month? Okay. Well, maybe I'll try it after I finish breastfeeding because apparently, like when you breastfeed, your hormones like it causes you to not be as fertile or something. And I can take something called like a what's it called? My sister was telling me something like an estrogen blocker or something. You can only take it if you're breastfeeding though, but it like helps you to not be fertile, and that's like another form of birth control. So she told me to do that, but I didn't even like do that because I'm just like, first of all, I don't even plan on having sex for a little while longer because I still don't feel that comfortable. So we're just not even gonna
Yeah,
explore that right now. But I don't know. And I honestly
yeah.
don't even know how long I'm still gonna be breastfeeding. Like I'm trying to decide when am I gonna stop pumping because these boobs, I just can't deal with them.
They looking good.
You know, sometimes I'm like, damn, I was praying for the day that I had big boobs, and now that I have them, I'm like, I wish that I could just like get rid of them.
They'll go down eventually, but just so you know, they looking real good.
Well, thank you. Okay, next thing I want to talk about, and something that you probably could preach about, is I know that people give you a lot of flack for like not being engaged to Alex yet, and y'all have been together for such a long time. So, what are your opinions on people dating for multiple years without there being like an engagement or talks of, like marriage?
Yeah, so me and Alex actually are we dated like not boyfriend girlfriend for a long time too. Like we were just like talk in our talking era for a really long time. Even though we spent every waking moment together, we lived only a mile apart, so like
Oh,
we were
wow.
together every single day. Yeah, we were together every single day, and we just weren't official. So our stories are like just really drawn out anyway, if I'm being honest. But when it comes to that, I think the biggest thing is that one, women have the right to walk away. Like we always think that men are the one in control of the relationship because ultimately they're the one asking, "Will you be my girlfriend? Will you marry me?" So we're waiting, we're quote unquote waiting for them. But in my opinion, I'm like I had every right to step away if that wasn't for me either. So I wasn't waiting for Alex to do anything. Like I just didn't mind I just personally didn't mind our timeline. But if that did bother me, then I would have walked away because it's not up to him, it's also up to me just as much. Just because I'm waiting for him to ask me doesn't mean that I don't have the power as well. But I think, of course, that's always we get that question like every day,
I
like when are you
know.
gonna get married? Like, yeah, we get that question. And for us, it's just like I honestly am just not in any rush. Like I in my brain still feel hella childish. So I'm like,
Same.
me a wife. I'm like, is it really that deep? Even though I'm like late 20s now, Alex is in his 30s. Like we've been together for 7 years. Like our age, our timeline, we should and could definitely be married. But I also it's just not. I'm not pressing it personally, just because that still feels crazy to me to be like, oh, this is my husband, and maybe I'm just like hella childish, but
No, I mean that's
I
how
don't
I felt
know.
about like becoming a mom. I'm like, me, a mom? Like, are you crazy? I'm 12 years old in my mind. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not capable of
like
this.
this is a teen pregnancy. This is a teen
That's
pregnancy
literally
right
how
now.
I felt. Like, this is a teen pregnancy. This is a teen arranged marriage. Like, I can't do this. But no, I definitely feel that because even with like my ex, like we had been together for 7 years, and obviously, like everybody would always ask us, like, when are you guys gonna get married? And at that time in my life, I'm like, first of all, neither one of us ain't got no jobs. We're not established. We both still living at home. It doesn't make sense for people to be trying to press other people to get married based off of the length of time that they've been together. And even when it comes to like me and Justin, like I moved into his house. We now have a child together, and people are like, oh, when are y'all gonna get married? Like, y'all got this baby and y'all have this house. Like, the next step. I'm like, why does that have to naturally like be the next step? I understand society and like they just naturally want that to be the next step for most people. But honestly, me and Justin have not even been dating for a full year. Like, we got pregnant 2 months after knowing each other. Like, we weren't even officially together. I got pregnant in July. No, I got pregnant in June, and we didn't even like officially become boyfriend and girlfriend until July. So it's like we still have so much to learn about each other, and even just like living together, we've learned a lot about each other and had a lot of like hard and difficult conversations that probably most people who are married probably have never had before. And it's just a matter of like timing for us. Like I told him, I was like, you're not gonna propose to me while I'm pregnant. You're not gonna propose to me when I'm this many months postpartum because I'm still trying to get this body together. Like I want to make sure I'm snatched. I want to make sure like I'm secure in who I am. I want to make sure like financially I'm good to go. Like I don't have to rely on him. I just feel like there's a lot of factors that play into marriage, especially for women today, because it used to be, oh, you find a man, he's going to provide for you, and you just make a house a home. But now it's like, I feel like women want to have that independence and that kind of like secure sense of self before they even step into a marriage with somebody else so that they don't feel that dependency, you know?
Yeah, and I think it can be hard because the like we were talking about the pressure that society puts on you. Like people could be like, "Oh, you guys have a baby, you have a house, like you should do that next step." But the reality is everyone's story is different. The same way some people go to college, some people don't. Some people have a traditional 9 to 5, some people are entrepreneurs, freelancers. Like people are going to have something to say about either side, whatever direction of life you take, because people are used to such a traditional lifestyle. And when you don't live like that, people like are like, interesting, you know what I mean? Like they like think they get really freaked out by it, but also it is hard because like I see so many TikToks and they're like, you've been with that man 5+ years, you still don't got a ring, he don't want you, bitch. I'm
Right.
be looking at
They're
Alex
like
like,
red flag, red flag.
yeah, I'm like, do you not really want me or what's going on then? Because then you're like watching all these videos of women talking like that. Because part of I would say partially I see it and I think it is true. Like if some what do we always say? If they wanted to they would. Like that is an accurate statement, and not that I don't think that Alex doesn't want me or anything, but I can definitely see how someone or you could think like, okay, well maybe he's just not really sure because of the fact that you've been together for so long. And age does play a factor, even though it sucks that that's the thing, because you could be 50 and not ready, you could not want to be married, like that's totally fine. But because Alex is 35, and so people's their brains like, okay, you're 35, you've been with this girl for 7 years, how do you not want to be married already? Like what are you waiting for, type of thing. But everyone has their reasons, and for me I think it's because me, I just I never visualized weddings, or like I was never the girl with like a Pinterest board with my wedding
Me
dress. Like
neither.
I was the girl with my Miss USA dress in mind. Like
That
like
part.
that was me. So I was the girl thinking about how I'm gonna be rich and famous, baby. So I'm never thinking about, not that I'm never I feel like I only really think about marriage when I see my friends get engaged. And I'm like, oh, that could be me, because I just want to be on
Yeah.
Instagram, like, you know what I
Right.
mean? But other than that, I'm really, really chilling, like genuinely.
Yeah, I feel like that's where me and you kind of are alike, and a lot of other girls are different. Is that you hear a lot of times, like, well, I say a lot of times, I see people getting married on social media, and I hear them say this kind of stuff. They're like, I've dreamed of this day since I was like 5 years old, and I just imagine. I'm like, I've never imagined this. I don't know what kind of dress I want. I don't know anything about what my wedding is going to be. I've never thought about it. Like it's not something that's at the forefront of my mind. And I feel like there's so many women who are like hyper consumed with trying to get married and get down to the altar, and I don't know. It's sometimes I find that kind of cringy, and then sometimes I'm like, "Okay, that's good for you, but couldn't be me."
Oh yeah, I think it's hella cringy, and I'm just gonna say it because of the fact of, like, I know you talked about this too in one of your episodes about how you don't want being a mom to be like your personality trait, like your only thing, like you're
Mhm.
Mariah first, but you're Mariah first, and then the other titles kind of come after, and I think that's the way it should be too, which is why a lot of moms kind of lose themselves. And lose their dreams and aspirations because their first priority, I don't want it sounds bad, like your first priority
No,
is
but
your
it's
child,
it's
but like,
true.
their first priority isn't themselves. And I think the same thing happens with marriage. Like that's why, I don't know why, no shade to anybody that has this, but I get so cringy when I see someone's Instagram bio and it's like wifey of, and then the person's tagged. I'm
Yes.
like, I would be damned if Alex, a wifey of cue to music, that's the IG handle. Like I'd be
Jail.
like, what? Jail immediately, because that's not my title. Like when people be like, what do you do? And people are like, well, I'm a wife. I'm like, what do you do?
Right. It's
That's that
crazy.
I can see, like when people say I'm a mom, I'm like, yes, that's a full-time job, so that is what you do, like that could, you know what I mean. But when people start off with I'm a wife, I'm like, how'd you say the wife over the mom? And
Right. Or how
why?
do you even say either of those things instead of like what you actually do? Like, whether, even if you don't have a job, like you have interests and you have hobbies. Like, I don't necessarily have a job right now and I'm a mom, but if somebody asked me, oh, what do you do? I would not say, I'm a mom. I would say, I'm a content creator. I'm a podcaster. I would
Hmm.
like lead with that first, or at least like lead with my hobbies first before I just jump into, I'm a mom. Like,
Yeah, because it becomes everyone's personality trait, because they kind of, I think people lose themselves a little bit when I'm talking about the women that are really like, I've been waiting to get married for my whole entire life, and
yes.
their whole personality trait literally becomes being somebody's wife. And that's the issue in my head, is that I don't want my brand to be somebody else's something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just Imani.
Exactly. Period. No, I
Yeah.
totally get that. And I low key wanted to do like an entire podcast episode about that. I have like a long note section of just like episodes and topics that I want to talk about. But one of the things was like why women get so excited like when they're engaged, or why they're like they make it their entire personality trait when they get married or something like that, because it just seems like you're putting so much of yourself into someone and something else other than like you. And like you said, it sounds bad, it sounds selfish, but at the end of the day, like you have to be a little bit selfish sometimes. Like you can't just be so and so's wife or so and so's mom for the rest of your life. Like you have to do things for you and do things that, you know, kind of make you who you are and not just what you're giving to other people.
Yeah, because then when your kid grows up, I mean, all of our parents can now relate to that. It's like we all left the nest. You starting your own family. So imagine if your personality trait is only based off of your kid. They leave the nest. You don't even know what to do with yourself. Say by chance you get divorced from your husband. You put so much into that as who you are. You don't even know how to step away and go back to who you were before you were a mom or a wife.
Right.
So that's where people really go wrong. It's just not, keeping up with their, even if you, like you say, if you don't even have a job, like at least have your hobbies or
Mm-hmm.
something, just because that is not it. So I mean, overall, I don't look at, I guess I don't look at marriage as like, I look at it as the goal, because I do think it's cool to be married, and like it shows your companionship and like you're a union. And legally, honestly, like if something were to happen, you have to go to the hospital, they're looking for who's related,
Right.
so a girlfriend don't cut it in the hospital, you know what I mean? So
Mm-mm.
it does have status, like being a wife or being a husband, legally, even like financially and everything. But I don't look at it as like, oh, this is my end goal. Like, I think a lot of women feel like they officially made it as a woman when a man asks them to marry them, and
Yeah.
I don't view it like that.
Yeah. Me neither. They think that's like the one complete goal of life. And I'm like, no, there's so much more to life than just like waiting on somebody to propose to you. And if you are like that person that's waiting, oh, God help you.
Yeah, especially I feel like men are slow these days too.
Slow
Like,
AF.
yeah, like they don't people don't want commitment. I mean, I don't even know what it would be like dating. Like, I'm like, that would terrify me if like me and Alex were not together and I had to go out and start for rent. I'd be like, what's going on? Absolutely not.
I ain't been out here since 2014.
Yeah. Literally, like, what is going on?
That's
Yeah,
so
I'd be
funny.
terrified. So good luck to all the people out there looking for a man or a woman or whatever.
Right, whatever you want.
Good luck.
What's another topic that I wanted to talk to you about? I feel like I had wrote some down, but now I'm just like drawing a blank because we've just been talking about so much. But let's talk about pageants, I guess, because you were the first person to wear braids on the pageant stage. Queen, we love to see it. Do you think that pageants are still progressing in a positive way, or do you think that pageants are kind of becoming overrated and oversaturated?
Yes.
Like,
Because
which one?
yes to both. I think that well, I love pageants. Like, I've done them since I was 5 years old. I still am in the pageant role as a coach, and now I work over here with Miss California USA team. So I still love pageants, being a part of it. But I do think my biggest issue with it is there is no place in the world for them, sadly.
Yeah.
And I say that because of the fact that you take Miss USA, what that looked like years and years ago, say before social media. Miss USA is a public figure. She's kind of a celebrity. She goes to red carpets. But what was cool about her is that she was an activist. Or Miss America too. They combined the worlds of glam and being an activist and put them together and
Mm-hmm.
made a pageant title holder. Now everybody's an activist. I think what really changed that was 2020. Everyone has a voice, everyone has a platform, no matter how big or small it is. We all have the ability to make a difference. We see kids out there and going to protest. There's a
Right.
protest every other week somewhere. So we've all become activists and making change in our community. And on top of that, we're also all simultaneously being baddies on Instagram and TikTok.
Right.
So where is so we are all Miss USA's now, because we are activists, and then we're also bad bitches going to red carpets. So boom, that's an influencer. So if now, if Miss USA is nothing more than an influencer.
That's
So
facts.
if you're just an influencer, then where does Miss USA belong anywhere now? Like, what is the purpose of it? And that's coming from someone that wants Miss USA to be the biggest thing out, because I
Yeah.
love pageants, you know. But it's just like, I don't really see that. I see that there's a huge disconnect just because we already have that now, and that's called the influencer.
Yeah, I think that's such a good way to put it in a way that I didn't even think about before. But like you said, I mean, even like posting a viral video on TikTok, like it launches you into like superstardom. Whereas, like you said, when pageantry first started or was first emerging, like that was unheard of. Like you were only important in society if you were a pageant queen or if you were an actress, if you were a model, if you were a pop star. Like
Mhm.
those were the only things that counted as like, oh, you're so exclusive. But now it's like even regular people can get invited to exclusive things just because they got a 10 million view on their video. And it's like, okay,
Exactly.
so at what point do we like draw the boundary and draw the line and say like this is still going to be as exclusive as it once was, and stop inviting all of these just random people who really honestly just got lucky, and inviting them into
Hmm.
these spaces where they shouldn't even be or probably would never have been if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny, somebody just asked me, because I'm recording my podcast today about pop culture, and somebody asked me, what do you think about influencers being invited to like the Grammys and the Met Gala and things like that? And I was talking to Alex about it last night, and I'm like, well, at the end of the day, you have to start accepting the fact that influencers are today's celebrities,
Right.
because that's all the Kardashians are. They're like a glorified influencer. So we have to get out of our head that influencers aren't some type of celebrity. Um, but I get it too, because it's like you're taking these A-list celebrities and putting them with people that seem so normal, like an
Mm-hmm.
influencer, and they're able to go into these spaces that seem so elite to us. So it gets a little like weird, but I think with Miss USA, it's really just an influencer at this point. And I think the only way they can change that is they have to bring some type of relevancy back to it, because I feel like, I personally think the only people that are really watching it are pageant fans, us.
Mm-hmm.
um and that's really it. Like, especially now, it's not on a major channel like Fox, so you don't even get the people that are just scrolling that night to
Right.
like, oh, Miss USA's on, let's watch it. They don't even have that anymore because it's not on a major platform. So I think they're gonna have to really make some changes when it comes to just even body size. Like, we're gonna have to see a plus size Miss USA. And
Yeah.
I think we should see that regardless. But if we're talking even from, I know that sounds bad, but even from a business standpoint, you're gonna have to see a plus size Miss USA. You're gonna have to see a person that has a disability,
Mm-hmm.
because we need to see that representation, that inclusion within the system. Because otherwise, the reality is, we have gotten more inclusive when it comes to race. Like, we've seen so many, like, especially Black women become
Mm-hmm.
Miss USA. But if you really peel back the layer, we all look similar in the sense of the type of Black woman, the type of body size.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
all very still cookie cutter. It's like same bitch, different font. You know what I
Right.
mean? Where I think we really got to mix it up with the title holders in like different ways, besides, just a certain way that we've been seeing. And I think that's the only way they're going to be able to stay relevant. Although otherwise, it's just going to be pageant fans watching it every year.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that if they were to even just like expand the type of title holders that they have, like it would just open up a whole new audience, just like it did for Black women. Like Black women wasn't really watching Miss USA before Black women started winning. Like, okay, let's talk about
Hmm.
Deshauna and
Yeah.
Cara and Chesley. Like nobody was really
Hmm.
checking for Miss USA as a Black woman because we thought that it was so unattainable. Like, why would I even concern myself with trying to do this or trying to watch this when I already know what's going to be the end result. And now it's kind of like become that same system to where it's like, okay, they need to switch it up again. And I'm like you said, from a business standpoint, it sounds bad, but also it's like people out there do need that representation. It's not like it wouldn't
Hmm.
be in vain. Like even if it was
Yeah.
just like a business move, it would still cause a really big impact on the world and be like, you are the first person to do this, and now you've opened up the door and the lane for other people to come behind you and say, oh, it's not as impossible as I thought. And I think that's the thing, is that I don't know. I feel like Miss USA, in a sense, it's become more attainable for a certain group of people, but there's still certain groups of people who are like lacking and are sitting outside of that. To whereas if we made it all inclusive and everybody could feel like they could be a part or could envision themselves as Miss USA, then they would be able to like kind of have this rebrand and this re-push of people who are interested in pageants again because it's not just the same old, like you said.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make it seem like your everyday person could be a Miss USA. And it might sound performative, but and we know we all don't like performative actions, and we learned that especially during 2020. But the reality is, like you said, even if it's performative, it still makes a positive impact. Take
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret. We know when they come back with that fashion show, this is all performative. They don't really care about having different looking women, different sizes, different abilities in this fashion show. They
Right.
would they would love to just keep it size 0 to 2 blonde white women. But they can't because of a business move and it is performative, but it's going to be so cool to see all that representation on that iconic runway. So
Right.
regardless of why you're doing it, it just needs to be done. So
Facts.
I think yeah, so I mean I hope that they can figure it out. I mean they don't even have a owner, so we don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's
But
happening. The pageant world is
we
in
don't know what
shambles and flames at the moment.
yeah, I'm just here for the ride, enjoying the dresses, and I'm always watching Miss USA. I'm always watch Miss Universe.
Me
I'm always
too.
root for my girls, my friends. Always make my own top five. It's always gonna be a part of us.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long like the longevity of it is anymore. Sadly.
Yeah. Oh, that is sad to think about.
Hmm. Yeah, it really is. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, oh, wow. But we got in and got out, so
Right.
we
We
did
got
our piece.
in, we
We had
got
a rough
out.
year, but
It's the end of the
at
era.
least we did it. Yeah.
Okay. I know you have to go soon. But the last thing, we were playing this game the other day with Justin's friends, and we were just kind of talking about like different topics, and they were saying like things that you wanted to get rid of in different categories, so like fruits or like fast food places. So, okay, I'm gonna give you like a list of three things, and you're gonna have to decide like
Mhm.
which one has to go away and tell me why.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start
Okay.
with fruit. You can choose from bananas, mangoes, or strawberries. Which one has to go?
Uh, I'm gonna say banana.
Me too.
I'm gonna say banana because mango is a supreme fruit. Point blank. Period.
Period.
Mango is delicious. It is sweet. You add it to a smoothie, it's about to eat up that smoothie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it. A mango is superior, and strawberries to me are iconic. Like you just can't get rid of a strawberry. Like a strawberry is a staple. And I feel like it's the foundation of fruit. Like kids love strawberries, adults love strawberries. You can make strawberries kitty with the lunch. You can
Mm-hmm.
make strawberries sexy with whipped cream and chocolate. You know what
Period.
I mean? So like you can't get rid of a strawberry, so it's gonna have to be a banana.
Yeah.
Which that makes me sad, because I love putting bananas in smoothies, but I don't just be chomping on bananas by itself. So that's gonna have to
See,
go.
I don't like bananas in smoothies, but I will eat bananas by themselves, but only if they're like yellow green. Like I will not eat a brown banana. I will not eat a yellow banana.
Oh
It
yeah,
needs to be like green turning into yellow. Like I like it to be firm. I don't know. That might sound
yeah,
weird. I do. I like it to be firm, more firm. And I feel like when bananas just sit there, they get too mushy and they get like the brown spots. I'm like, ew, I don't like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
bananas
neither.
can go for sure. But
They
yeah,
gotta
I
go.
agree. Okay, next, let's do fast food. So let's do Chick-fil-A. Let's do, well, I was going to say Raising Cane's, but you don't have Raising Cane's out there.
No, we do.
Y'all do? Okay, I'll say
Uh huh.
Cane's and then I'll say, well, I guess let's stick with chicken and I'll say Zaxby's. Do you have Zaxby's?
No, we don't have
Do you
that.
have KFC?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do
Okay.
Cane's, Chick-fil-A, and KFC. Which one has to go?
KFC's gone immediately. KFC's so gone. Raising Cane's, Chick Fil A. People always compare those two, but I always they're so different because Chick Fil A is like a sweet chicken, and I think it's like fried in like peanut oil, like sweeter, and then Raising Cane's tastes like chicken. And they got that good sauce, they got that good ass bread. So I would never get rid of Raising Cane's. So if I have to choose even between to make it harder for myself, those two, I think I'm gonna have to choose. I'm gonna have to get rid of Chick Fil A. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so sad. But
I
oh
know.
man, I don't know actually. But for sure KFC's gone.
I think, yeah, I agree with KFC. Although I just saw a commercial for some chicken nuggets that they're coming out with, and they look bomb. And I told Justin, I was like, I need to go try these KFC chicken nuggets. But yeah, if I had to pick between Chick-fil-A and KFC, I mean Chick-fil-A and Cane's, I'd probably say Cane's just because I do like the bread so much and the French fries better than the waffle fries.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I feel like we might get
What about
some hate
Popeyes?
for that. What you say?
What about Popeyes?
I do love me some Popeyes. I like Popeyes, but I don't go for the chicken. I go for the shrimp. I'll order
Oh,
chicken tenders from Popeyes sometimes, but I usually just get like the shrimp box.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I gotta get that.
It's
Next
good.
time, get black and ranch too, the sauce. If
But
you
I
want
don't
to get
like
that.
ranch.
Oh, damn.
That reminded me of the Kevin Hart meme where he's like, "Damn."
Damn. He's like, what did he say? He was like, you're 50 years old. Damn.
Okay, last one because I know that you have to go. All right, this is gonna be like women's pampering, okay? And you have to get rid of one. So let's say getting your nails done, getting your hair done, or getting a facial.
I'm gonna delete getting a facial because I don't even get those already. And
See?
I feel like it's like I think a facial is like yeah, that's like nice and but we got so many skin products. I can get my own facial at home, baby. Like you know what I mean. So they got go on TikTok, find the best products at Sephora and Ulta. You could give your own facial. But if that's out the question, like you can't give your own facial. The thing is, like the nails, I feel raggedy when my nails aren't done. Like right now,
Yeah.
I just have my own nails, but they're dipped, so they look like put together. But when my nails are not done, I just feel like the crustiest bitch of all time. And then my hair has to be done. Whether like right now it's like my own hair in a bun, but like if I can never get bundles again, or never get braids, or never get something to my like, I can't even see myself not ever having bundles again. I would literally crash and die. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That would be like the
it's
end of
gonna
the
be a
world.
vacation. Yeah, I always needed like a 24-inch Brazilian body wave, baby.
Okay, from the Queen Imani herself. I'm gonna let you go, girl, because I know you got other things to do. But thank you so much for joining me today. This was so much fun. I feel like we just literally had like a
This is so
FaceTime with each
fun.
other.
I know. I love this topic though. This is or like this segment. This is a fun segment that you have.
Thanks. We're trying something new. But I will have all of Imani's Instagram handles, her podcast, even pageant coaching if y'all are interested because she does that too. This girl wears many hats. Okay, we didn't even dive into anything about Imani today, but maybe I'll have her on
No,
again and
it's
we'll just
good.
talk about all things
Yeah.
Imani. But yeah, I have everything linked in the description of the episode. Imani, thank you again. And my girlies, I will talk to you all in my next episode. Bye.